Josh Gordon was a once-in-a-generation talent, a 6'3", 225-pound wide receiver with blazing speed and elite hands. Born in Houston, Texas in 1991, he was drafted by the Cleveland Browns in the second round of the 2012 NFL Supplemental Draft. What followed was a career filled with promise, but ultimately derailed by repeated violations of the NFL's substance abuse policy. In just his second season, 2013, Gordon exploded. He led the league with 1,646 receiving yards in only 14 games, becoming the first NFL player to post back-to-back 200-yard receiving games. He was named first-team All-Pro. But that brilliance came with baggage. He had already served a 2-game suspension that season for testing positive for codeine, reportedly tied to a prescription for bronchitis. Trouble had followed him from college. Gordon was suspended at Baylor after a 2010 marijuana arrest, then transferred to Utah without playing a snap. In the NFL, things only worsened. He was suspended for the entire 2014 season, reduced to 10 games after policy changes, and then again for violating team rules. In 2015, he failed another drug test and was suspended for the entire year. Though reinstated in 2016, Gordon entered rehab just before the season began. It was a cycle that repeated for years: reinstatement, brief flashes of brilliance, and then another failed test. Between 2014 and 2020, Gordon missed 63 out of a possible 112 games due to suspension. New England took a chance on him in 2018, and for a while, it seemed like a fresh start. He caught Tom Brady's deep balls and looked revitalized, until December, when he stepped away from the team to focus on his mental health, followed by another indefinite suspension. The Seahawks and Chiefs later offered opportunities, but the pattern remained. Josh Gordon's story isn't just about a player who couldn't stay clean. It's about addiction, mental health, and the painful intersection of stardom and personal struggle. His saga remains one of the NFL's most heartbreaking tales of wasted potential and human vulnerability. Johnny Jolly was a promising defensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers, known for his size, strength, and fierce play. Born in Houston, Texas in 1983, Jolly played college football at Texas A&M before being selected in the 6th round of the 2006 NFL Draft by the Packers. By 2008, he had cemented his place as a starter, helping anchor a tough defensive line. But off the field, Jolly was battling a dangerous addiction, one that would nearly destroy his life and career. In July 2008, Jolly was arrested in Houston for possession of at least 200 grams of codeine, the key ingredient in Purple Drank, a recreational drug mixture popular in Southern hip-hop culture. The charges were initially dropped in 2009 but later reinstated. As the legal troubles dragged on, the NFL intervened. In July 2010, Jolly was suspended indefinitely for violating the league's substance abuse policy, forcing him to miss the Packers' entire Super Bowl-winning 2010 season. His troubles didn't stop there. In March 2011, he was arrested again, this time with 600 grams of codeine. Then again in October that year for possession and tampering with evidence. In November 2011, Jolly was sentenced to 6 years in prison after pleading guilty to possession with intent to distribute. But in a twist few expected, Jolly was granted early release in 2012 and applied for reinstatement to the NFL. By February 2013, the league approved it. And that fall, after 3 years away, Jolly made a comeback with the Packers, playing in 13 games and even starting 8. His return was inspiring. But in December, a neck injury ended his season and ultimately his career. Lawrence Taylor, the ferocious linebacker who redefined defense, burst into the NFL in 1981 after being drafted 2nd overall by the New York Giants. From the moment he stepped onto the field, Taylor was a force of nature, racking up 132.5 career sacks, winning NFL MVP in 1986, and helping lead the Giants to 2 Super Bowl titles. He wasn't just great, he was transformative. But behind the glory was a dark spiral. By his second season, Taylor was addicted to cocaine. The pressure, the fame, and the culture of the 1980s NFL fueled his descent. He later admitted to using drugs during the season, even showing up to games while still under the influence. "Blow was the only bright spot in my future," he wrote in his 2003 autobiography LT Over the Edge. In 1987, Taylor failed his first NFL drug test, which remained confidential under league policy. But a second failure in 1988 resulted in a 4-game suspension. That same year, he checked into rehab. Though he returned to the field, the addiction never fully left. After his retirement in 1993, Taylor was arrested multiple times for drug-related offenses, including a 1995 sting where he attempted to buy cocaine from undercover officers. Despite the chaos, Taylor's legacy on the field was undeniable. In 1999, he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame on the first ballot. His story remains one of raw brilliance, haunted by self-destruction, a generational talent who conquered the gridiron but barely survived himself. By the way, I'm going to be posting a lot more interesting videos on the channel. I'll greatly appreciate it if you could support me by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much. Ricky Williams. In 2002, Ricky Williams was at the top of his game. Born in 1977 in San Diego, California, Williams won the Heisman Trophy in 1998 at the University of Texas. He was drafted 5th overall by the New Orleans Saints in 1999, famously at the cost of the team's entire draft. But it was in Miami after being traded to the Dolphins in 2002 that Ricky became a household name. That season, he led the NFL in rushing with 1,853 yards and earned Pro Bowl and first-team All-Pro honors. But behind the stats, Ricky was struggling, battling anxiety, social discomfort, and a deep dislike for the media spotlight. He began using marijuana regularly, not recreationally, but to cope with his mental health. The NFL saw it differently. He failed his first drug test in 2002, then another, and another. By 2004, facing a 1-year suspension for violating the league's substance abuse policy a third time, Williams abruptly retired just days before training camp. At 27, he walked away from millions and shocked the sports world. He spent time in Australia and studied holistic medicine in India, seeking peace and purpose. He returned in 2005, but failed another drug test in 2006, leading to a full season suspension. Yet Ricky came back once again. By the time he retired for good in 2011, he had rushed for over 10,000 yards. Today, Ricky Williams is remembered as both a misunderstood rebel and a pioneer, an NFL star who challenged the stigma around marijuana long before it was accepted, and in doing so, he changed the conversation about mental health and player autonomy in professional sports. Dexter Manley was a force of nature on the football field. Born in Houston, Texas, and drafted by the Washington Redskins in 1981, he quickly became one of the NFL's most feared defensive ends. Manley terrorized quarterbacks with relentless energy, helping Washington win 2 Super Bowls in the 1982 and 1987 seasons. By 1986, he was a Pro Bowl selection with an official 97.5 career sacks. But behind the scenes, Manley was battling demons that no stat sheet could capture. In May 1989, everything changed. While testifying before a U.S. Senate subcommittee on drug use in sports, Manley made a stunning confession. He was functionally illiterate. Despite graduating from Oklahoma State University, he admitted he could read only at a second-grade level. Senators were stunned. The confession not only shocked the public, it exposed the broader failure of academic oversight in college athletics. Just months later, the hits kept coming. After failing his third drug test for cocaine, the NFL handed Manley a lifetime suspension in November 1989 under the league's substance abuse policy. It was a devastating blow to a career already on shaky ground. Though he was later reinstated, another failed test in 1991, this time while with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, ended his NFL career for good. Manley later battled cocaine addiction, served jail time in 1995 for possession, and spent years in rehab. He briefly played in the CFL, but never recaptured the glory of his prime. Today, he speaks publicly about his struggles with addiction and illiteracy, using his painful past to educate others. Lyall Alzado. In July 1991, the NFL world was stunned when Lyall Alzado, former Raiders defensive end, made a raw and emotional confession. In a Sports Illustrated cover story titled "I Lied," Alzado admitted to years of anabolic steroid and human growth hormone abuse, dating back to 1969. Now battling a rare and aggressive brain cancer, he believed the drugs were to blame. Alzado's NFL career spanned 15 seasons. Drafted in 1971 by the Denver Broncos, he later played for the Cleveland Browns and finally the Los Angeles Raiders, where he helped win Super Bowl 18th. He was a two-time Pro Bowler, known for his violent style of play and relentless aggression. But behind that rage was a man chasing size and strength at any cost. By 1990, Alzado was diagnosed with primary brain lymphoma, a rare form of cancer. In his public statements, including appearances on NBC's First Person with Maria Shriver, he attributed the disease to his prolonged steroid use, claiming his immune system had been destroyed. He also estimated that over 75% of NFL players were using steroids during his era. But while his honesty was praised, medical experts couldn't confirm a direct link between steroid use and brain cancer. Alzado died on May 14, 1992, at just 43 years old. His final months were spent issuing a powerful warning: the pursuit of dominance through drugs carries a price. Though the science remained inconclusive, the emotional impact was undeniable. His death ignited widespread conversations about performance-enhancing drugs in professional sports, conversations still echoing today. Shaun Marman was one of the NFL's most explosive defenders. Drafted 12th overall by the San Diego Chargers in 2005, the linebacker earned Defensive Rookie of the Year honors with 10 sacks and quickly became known as "Lights Out" for his ferocious tackles and signature celebration. By 2006, he looked unstoppable, until a stunning announcement shook the league. On October 23, 2006, Marman was suspended for 4 games without pay for violating the NFL's policy on anabolic steroids and related substances. Reports confirmed that both his A and B samples tested positive for nandrolone, an anabolic steroid. Marman and his lawyer claimed the result came from a tainted over-the-counter supplement, insisting he never knowingly took a banned substance. But the NFL held firm, and the suspension stood. At the time, the scandal was so significant that it sparked what would later be referred to as the Marman Rule, a policy change that barred players suspended for steroids from being selected to the Pro Bowl or winning awards that season. Despite the controversy, Marman returned that same year with a vengeance. He still led the league in sacks with 17 in just 12 games and earned All-Pro honors. But the stain of the suspension lingered. Critics questioned whether his dominance was natural. Supporters pointed to his continued production post-suspension. In the years that followed, Marman's career was derailed by injuries. He was never quite the same player and retired in 2013 at just 28 years old. David Irving. In March 2019, Dallas Cowboys defensive lineman David Irving shocked the NFL world, not with a hit or a sack, but with a defiant puff. On Instagram Live during an active suspension, Irving lit a joint and declared, "Basically, guys, I quit." Irving's journey began at Iowa State, where off-the-field troubles cost him his senior season. Despite going undrafted in 2015, he signed with the Kansas City Chiefs and shortly after landed with the Dallas Cowboys. There, he quickly made an impact, most notably in 2016, when he forced 3 fumbles in 11 defensive snaps against the Packers. By 2017, he posted 7 sacks in just 8 games, proving himself as a disruptive force on the defensive line. But his rise was marred by repeated suspensions for violating the NFL's substance abuse policy. In 2017 and 2018, Irving served 2 separate 4-game bans for failed drug tests. Then came March 1, 2019, his 3rd strike. The NFL suspended him indefinitely after another failed test, reportedly for marijuana. That same day, Irving took to social media, lighting up on camera. But this wasn't just a protest. It was a resignation. He accused the NFL of hypocrisy, banning marijuana while allowing addictive opioids. "I'm not doing this no more," he said, openly criticizing league policies. In October 2020, Irving was conditionally reinstated and briefly joined the Las Vegas Raiders, but never regained his footing. By May 2021, he was released and hasn't played in the NFL since. Irving's exit wasn't just about weed, it was about a player drawing a line. His departure added fuel to a growing debate about the NFL's marijuana policy, which was eventually relaxed in the 2020 CBA, eliminating suspensions for positive THC tests. David Irving didn't fade away. He walked out, smoking, talking, and refusing to be silent. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I've got lots of interesting videos coming up on the channel. Ontario Smith. In April 2005, at Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport, Minnesota Vikings running back Ontario Smith was stopped by TSA agents. In his luggage, officials discovered dried urine and a device called the Original Wizinator, a prosthetic penis used to cheat drug tests. It was one of the most bizarre moments in NFL drug policy history. Smith had already been skating on thin ice. After being dismissed from the University of Tennessee for repeated marijuana violations, he transferred to the University of Oregon and rebuilt his image just enough to be drafted by the Vikings in the 4th round of the 2003 NFL Draft. On the field, he showed promise, rushing for over 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns across his first 2 seasons. But off the field, trouble followed. Smith had already violated the NFL's substance abuse policy twice. The airport incident came just before he was scheduled for another drug test. Although no charges were filed, the optics were damning. Smith insisted the device wasn't his, that he was carrying it for his cousin, but the damage was done. By June 2005, the NFL handed Smith a 1-year suspension for his 3rd violation. He never returned to the league. Released by the Vikings in 2006, his professional football career effectively ended at just 24 years old. Aldon Smith burst into the NFL like a wrecking ball. Drafted 7th overall by the San Francisco 49ers in 2011, the Missouri pass rusher recorded a jaw-dropping 33.5 sacks in his first 2 seasons. By 2012, he looked like a future Hall of Famer. But off the field, Smith was unraveling, and fast. In September 2013, just days before a game, Smith crashed his SUV in San Jose. Police found him intoxicated, and he was arrested for DUI and marijuana possession. Days later, he checked into rehab, missing 5 games. That was just the beginning. In 2014, he was suspended for 9 games for violating the NFL's substance abuse and personal conduct policies after a series of incidents, including falsely claiming to have a bomb at LAX airport. Then came August 2015. Smith was arrested again for DUI, hit and run, and vandalism. This time, the 49ers had had enough. He was released the next day. The Oakland Raiders took a chance, but it backfired. By late 2015, Smith was suspended for at least 1 year. He wouldn't play another snap until 2020. After 4 years away, Smith made a surprising comeback with the Dallas Cowboys. He showed flashes of his old self, notching 5 sacks in 2020. But just as hope returned, so did trouble. In 2021, he was arrested for felony battery in Louisiana, followed by another DUI arrest later that year in California. Despite endless talent, Aldon Smith's career was defined by relapse, arrests, and suspensions. He had the makings of an all-time great, but his demons off the field kept dragging him back. A tragic reminder that sometimes talent just isn't enough. Justin Blackman was once hailed as the next big thing. Born in Ardmore, Oklahoma in 1990, he rose to stardom at Oklahoma State, winning back-to-back Biletnikoff Awards in 2010 and 2011. His college dominance made him the 5th overall pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, selected by the Jacksonville Jaguars. But his professional career would spiral out of control in less than 2 years. Even before his first NFL snap, Blackman was arrested in June 2012 for aggravated DUI in Stillwater, Oklahoma. His blood alcohol content was reportedly 3 times the legal limit. Despite this troubling start, he signed with the Jaguars and showed promise, most notably a 236-yard breakout game against the Texans as a rookie. But the red flags kept coming. In April 2013, Blackman was suspended for 4 games for violating the NFL's substance abuse policy. Then, in November of that same year, just 5 games into his return, he was suspended indefinitely for another violation. This time, the league wasn't forgiving. reports later confirmed repeated failed drug tests tied to marijuana and alcohol use. He never played another down in the NFL after 2013. Attempts at reinstatement failed. Then came more trouble. A marijuana possession arrest in July 2014, a DUI in December 2015, and another public intoxication arrest in April 2025. Justin Blackman's downfall wasn't due to injury or lack of talent, it was addiction. Martavis Bryant, once seen as the next big thing in Pittsburgh. Born in Calhoun Falls, South Carolina, and drafted by the Steelers in the 4th round of the 2014 NFL Draft, the Clemson product wasted no time making a name for himself. At 6 feet 4 inches with blazing speed, he scored 8 touchdowns in just 10 games as a rookie, averaging over 21 yards per catch. The league took notice. So did the drug tests. In August 2015, Bryant was suspended for 4 games for violating the NFL's substance abuse policy. He later admitted the violation was due to marijuana use and revealed he had entered a rehab facility. But the real collapse came just months later. In March 2016, the NFL dropped a bomb. Bryant was suspended for the entire season after multiple violations of the league's drug policy. His agent confirmed that Bryant was battling depression, and the league's drug testing protocol had become overwhelming. Despite being just 24 and oozing talent, he vanished from the game for over a year. He was reinstated in April 2017, returning to the Steelers. But tensions grew, both on and off the field. After a public feud over playing time and rumors of a trade, Bryant was shipped to the Oakland Raiders in April 2018. But the comeback never took hold. That December, he was suspended indefinitely for once again violating the terms of his conditional reinstatement. 5 years later, after failed comeback attempts in the CFL, XFL, and fan-controlled football, Bryant was reinstated by the NFL in 2023. The Dallas Cowboys signed him to the practice squad in November, but he never appeared in a regular season game. In early 2024, he briefly joined the Washington Commanders, but his return to the league remained symbolic more than impactful. Travis Henry, a Pro Bowl running back turned federal inmate. Once known for punishing defenders on the field, he would later be remembered for a shocking descent into drug trafficking. Born in Frostproof, Florida, Henry was drafted in the 2nd round of the 2001 NFL Draft by the Buffalo Bills. By 2002, he rushed for over 1,400 yards and earned a Pro Bowl selection. He later played for the Tennessee Titans and Denver Broncos, but as his career declined, so did his financial stability, burdened by child support for at least 11 children by 10 different women. Then came the fall. In 2008, Henry was arrested by federal agents after financing a cocaine trafficking ring that operated between Colorado and Montana. While Henry initially denied involvement, wiretaps and surveillance exposed him as the financier behind a multi-kilo drug operation. In April 2009, he pleaded guilty to conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute cocaine. Just 3 months later, a federal judge sentenced him to 3 years in prison. Prosecutors revealed he had fronted tens of thousands of dollars for large-scale drug buys, motivated by desperation to pay off mounting debts. Henry served his sentence and was released in 2011 after completing a drug treatment program. Though reinstated by the NFL in 2012, he never played another down. Sam Hurd was supposed to be a dependable wide receiver, not a drug kingpin, but in December 2011, everything unraveled. In a sting operation outside a Morton's steakhouse in Chicago, federal agents arrested Hurd after he agreed to purchase 5 to 10 kilograms of cocaine per week, intending to expand a massive drug operation. He told the undercover agent he was already distributing 4 kilograms of cocaine weekly across the city. Born and raised in Texas, Hurd played college football at Northern Illinois. Despite going undrafted in 2006, he signed with the Dallas Cowboys, carving out a role on special teams. In 2011, he joined the Chicago Bears with a 3-year, $5.15 million deal, poised to be a key locker room presence. But beneath that professional persona was a disturbing side hustle. Investigators had been monitoring him for months. Using a confidential informant, the feds built a case showing Hurd wasn't just dabbling, he was attempting to buy narcotics in bulk, up to $700,000 worth of drugs per week, with ambitions of distributing large quantities across the Chicago area. After being released by the Bears following his arrest, Heard was indicted on multiple federal charges. In 2013, he pleaded guilty to conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute cocaine and marijuana. The judge, noting Heard's wasted potential, sentenced him to 15 years in federal prison. Bam Morris. In the mid-90s, Byron "Bam" Morris was a rising star in the NFL. A powerhouse running back drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1994, he helped carry the team to Super Bowl 30. But just 2 years later, in March 1996, his name would be splashed across headlines, not for football, but for felony drug possession in Rockwall, Texas. Police pulled Morris over and discovered 6 pounds of marijuana in his trunk, alongside traces of cocaine. It was a stunning downfall for a player who had rushed for over 800 yards as a rookie and scored a touchdown in the AFC Championship game. The arrest not only violated league policy, it violated his probation from a previous drug charge in Kansas. Despite pleading guilty and receiving probation, the scandal prompted the Steelers to cut ties. Morris briefly resurfaced with the Ravens, Bears, and Chiefs, but trouble continued to follow. In 2000, he was convicted on federal charges for conspiracy to distribute over 100 kilograms of marijuana. He served 30 months in federal prison, then was returned to Texas in 2001 for violating parole, receiving a 10-year sentence. Morris was released early in 2004, but his NFL career was long gone. Once a Super Bowl-caliber talent, Bam Morris became a sobering reminder of how fast a promising future can go up in smoke. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting a lot more interesting videos on the channel. I'd greatly appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. Thank you very much.